Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of the Porsche 944. Last night I got some parts so we can start working on it. Being I don't want to pay the Porsche tax for what is effectively a glorified fish tank hose, so I bought this fuel line that should work. Worst case scenario, we just put a hose clamp on it and make it work because I'm not spending money. I also got this. Now, I'm not sure if it's gonna focus, but this is from a car and it should fix our lock problems and get. So I got these fasteners. This is for a GM, but it is the same size as a Porsche, so we're gonna be using these on the doors to get all this stuff in. Okay, so these are the original holes, and the door card itself was flexing so badly that you can't effectively run a screw in there, so I had to make my own with some random hardware. And down here, well, take a guess, these are also self-clearancing because this was taken the best care of. So we're gonna have to run some 10mm bolts into the door card to make it hold. Okay, so scratch this. Try that later, but at least the card holds itself on. This is just falling apart. So again, that's one of those, you know, $50 here, $50 there parts clips, which cost you an arm and a leg. So for now, it holds itself together. That's good enough. So what's happening here?
I don't know, I'm trying to fit this in. I put the thing in. I don't know if it's in straight.
Well, hopefully that's sealed. Only one way to find out. So here you can see the new strainer is in the tank. I removed the collar from the old strainer, which I'm sure is on one of the previous videos. And I slipped this in the tank and took it out the bottom. Like that.
And I slid this over it.
And I cut a toggle bolt, stuck my toggle wing in there from, this is now inside the tank on the other side of the collar, and put another one of these plates on this side with a nut and created a press. Pulled the collar right in. Instead of, like I've seen many people do, cut the outer lip of the tank, which is what holds the collar in the tank, I didn't want to do that. So I just repressed the collar back in and screwed the strainer right in. We don't know if it's leaking. It shouldn't leak because it has a seal on it, and that collar has nothing to do with sealing it. It's the seal on the strainer that seals the gas. So once we hook it up, put the fuel pump back on, then we can put gas in the tank and see if it leaks. You want to try to get these on as far as you can. There's a little ridge here, and you want to have that on the other side of the ridge so it holds it. The ridge on this pump that doesn't fit,
which is the wrong pump.
This is threaded. This is a completely wrong pump.
Okay, so this is the $30 pump from Rock Auto. It says it's for, you know, everything from a 914 to a 911, and it fits none of them. So, you know, but this is the proper part. I got this from a parts supplier. It was not cheap, but it does work.
Alright, so I mocked all this up here. The fuel pump's there. We still gotta build the harness to plug into the car to make the fuel pump work because it's a replacement. So these are the original hoses, and I couldn't get these fittings apart. Everything's rusted, and they're, you know, $100 and something a hose. Doesn't seem to be anything wrong with them, but this is the fitting. They came off of the filter, so you can unscrew them from the filter, and these fittings are already attached to the hose. So I just unscrewed them, took the seal, and screwed the old ones right back into the filter. It's the same filter. So once we build the harness connections to plug into the car, then we can tighten all this up, put all the covers back on, and see if it works.
Press that collar into the tank. I had dropped that piece of, it's called a fish tape, down there. I sent this down the fish tape, so it ended up, the collar was right here inside the tank. So then I sent this through like that, caught it. So now this is sticking out of the tank where the strainer was. I put this over it, washer, and a nut. And then when I was turning it in, it would press the collar. It would pull it this way and press the collar right into the tank. So I made my own little seal installer out of a seal installer kit. Had to modify it, but it worked.
If you own a modern car, you'll turn your key and you'll hear your fuel system pressurize and the pump goes brrrr, makes a little noise. This car doesn't do that, so this is how we're going to do it without cranking it. We'll be testing the fuel pump, so we're going to be sending it to 87B and 30. He's going to do send power directly to the pump to find out if we're in good shape. Yeah, 12.88.
Now I gotta try to find a ground. I think. Well, it's only 12 volts, but that 10 volts. Yeah, it's dropping tremendously.
12. Next problem is analyzing our leak here, which is by our automatic sunroof.
Hold on right there. Yeah, you see, that's what it is. It's supposed to. Now it's locked in. I don't think this one's locked in now.
Okay, so this is a 15 amp fuse going into number 5. This is for our window. I really hope this is the reason the windows don't work. Alright, cleaning these wheels. They aren't, they've seen better days. So you're just gonna wire wheel like that. Put a little bit of sandpaper on that, smooth it out. And for the barrel of the wheel, just shoot some of this in there. It is a very similar color, no one's really looking. And for the outside of the wheel, just give it a really good, thorough clean. Alright, so this is the end result. I know I didn't mask the tire because these are 20 years old anyways. I'm gonna hold it up. Let me guess, it weighs like 180 pounds.
Yeah, it sure does. Get it in place here. Get underneath it. Get this up on there. You gotta push them on.
So, obviously, in the previous video I was gonna show you how the lock works, but put your key in and you turn it. But there's a little more to it than that. So there you see the lock, and you see your upper rod and your lower rod. They're the ones on the top going either left or right. And you have your bolts holding it in. To the next of that, you will see that loose cable which goes to there. Now, right there is supposed to be a motor which we have out. The connector isn't there, so it wasn't worth it. That would be your automatic release. So I'm going to go turn the key, and you're going to see the lock turn, and you will see the various rods on the top and bottom move. And hopefully, obviously, it opens. This is a common fault area on these cars, but when you turn the lock or the key, these open on both sides. They're the actual lock part of the lock, and it seems to be working now. Evidently, someone's been here before, so this isn't the first. I'm not the first person who's had trouble with these.
No matter how terribly I may scream, do not open this door.
So this is a hose. It attaches up there
To the drain on
the drain by the sunroof, and it's supposed to go down to there.
Goes to this.
It leads down there.
Goes to this. And then this goes to the bottom of here for any water that comes in by the gas cap.
And to show you just how lovely this hose is, this is rubber, by the way. That is 2 gallons of gas in the tank. And I don't see any dripping, so today we're going to be taking care of our rust situation in the back of the passenger seat. This is Evapo Rust. It's mainly used for, like, you know, household tanks, gas tanks, stuff like that, but the modified use will create the same effect. So, you're gonna lift up your carpet and let it soak in here. As you can tell, there you can see our surface rust showing through, and our rag, which we will be using shortly. Wait about 15 to 30 minutes. Okay, so I waited 30 minutes. I obviously let it soak. Agitated it with this wire brush. So I waited 30 minutes. It looks better. So you notice something like that pocket right there, where there was clearly 2 layers of rust, there is now 1. And then the rest of it, I wire brushed around and vacuumed up. The rest of that I'm going to kill with a wire wheel. It's just time constraint, various reasons. It does work well. I rinsed it with some bleach and dried it, then rinsed it with some water and dried it again. So again, I'm just gonna wire wheel that. Alright, so I got the wire wheel, and that is our improved carpet. Now, it is not perfect, but I have gone over this for about a half hour, and it's drastically better. Rust reformer, cover up if I missed anything, and we're good to go. And this is the primer I have around, so we'll put some primer on top of that. Okay, so I had to do some correction. You see right here, some water decided to randomly run out and ruin the whole process. So now we're back where we were before. Okay, so I put some gray primer on here to start covering up the fact that this totally wasn't ruined by some water. And after that, I really hope I don't do this again, some satin blue, because no one's gonna see it. And last but not least, some enamel. It's not quite the paint enamel for, you know, automotive clear coat grade paint, but it will have to do. So here we are in the engine. There is supposed to be a plug for your timing mark, and
That's missing.
it's not there.
The timing belt cover off to take a look, and it kind of looks like the belt's not bad, but everything looks original, or the belt's been changed but all the guides are original. So like this one right here doesn't really spin. I would say that one's shot. That's a guide. There's a guide down here, but this guide spins nice. So we just wanted to make sure before we started it that we weren't going to blow the motor up.
Okay, so here we see our wheel hub, and they're very rusty, so our lugs didn't want to go on. So there is a trick that helps with that. Take this and you soak it in WD-40, and then you take a wire wheel at a slower and controlled pace and just go all around, and it does help. All you have to do is bring a chip to O'Reilly's and they can make it for you.
Yeah, I know, but this is a Porsche exclusive. Well, we have a chip.
Yeah, we have lots of chips. That's not a problem. So here you see this nice, cleaned stud, and compare it to something like, here you see, that looks pretty nasty compared to that, so we're on to something. To show a test, I'm going to take a 19mm socket and put one of my good used studs from an 89 Turbo on one of these clean ones here, and then show you the same thing on the other side. As you can see, went on fairly easily, went on fairly quickly, didn't get caught in anything, it's good to go. And just like that, one of our wheel hubs is done. Okay, so not much happened today, just cleaning up, vacuuming, stuff like that. You've seen someone vacuum before. But all of this is back together. And so is this. Just vacuuming out the rear seats and making it look nice.
There's no fuel.
So time to find out if anything on the fuel system leaks. Obviously the car is fully assembled, the belts and pulleys, etc. are good enough for this. Let's see how disastrous this goes on a scale of 1 to 10.
When I give the word, throw the first switch. You've got it, master. Alive! It's alive!
It's not good. No. You can't, because that means it's got too much air.
Interesting problem. And I think that is the causation of our burning, so I'm going to vacuum that out and yeah. In the meantime, I'm going to be vacuuming out this quarter, cleaning up this side of the rear seat, and putting the driver's seat back in. Alright, so I don't have my Torx on me, so just stop in tomorrow morning and tighten those down, put the seat in. But in the meantime, that is the end of the episode. The car does start, does run, but it's got a couple other issues we need to figure out first. So I'm gonna button this up and go home. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like, favorite, and subscribe.